A Napa guy knows the only way you'd give a freshly minted driver a brand new car is if he promises to never drive it. Instead, let him grind the gears and knock over the neighbor's mailbox in something a little more suited to his skill level. And with over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, he can safely drive something that's nearly as old as he is. It's not perfect, but it's perfect for him. That's Napa know-how.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, you know what? How's it going, folks? It's Ghost here, once again, with another edition of True Conservative Radio. I'm a little bit late. I'm about a minute late up in here, but the only reason is because I'm using my cell phone. You know, my old business cell phone up in here, and that's exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. Anyway, folks, we're having ourselves a pretty good show this evening, if you will. We're going to be talking about the state of affairs here in America, and we're going to be talking about the American presidential candidates that are running for the office and how exactly they're going to benefit us as American people, so to speak. Anyway, folks, we love your participation, if you will. I'm sorry if you're hearing me in a different light, if you will. I'm calling from my cell phone. You know, I'm actually not at my home at the present time. I'm actually out and about, if you will. So give me a call right now, 646-652-4869. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of subject matters. First and foremost, folks, I wanted to make it abundantly clear. I am drinking beer, okay? So if I sound somewhat a little bit tipsy, if I sound like I'm stumbling over my own tongue like Al Gore trying to explain how he invented the Internet, that's exactly why. And once again, I want to thank everybody who's already tuning in with me this early in the broadcast. I really appreciate it. I want to give some shout-outs to people that are right here with me. Chris Dockery, what's going on? Male Geek. Heather, of course, who's is a great patron of this show. I thank her for faithfully listening. How you doing, Heather? And we got Cuba Compagnone. I don't know if I said that right, but John, who's Freedom for Cuba, he's also in here. I want to thank everybody in here. And like I said, folks, I want to talk about the state of affairs in America. And once we've been done discussing those subject matters, we're going to go right into the presidential nominees and what they're going to do to actually progress America in general. Now, if I sound a little funny, folks, like I stated, I am on my cell phone, so I'm sorry. And at the same time, I'm drinking some alcoholic beverages right here, and you can hear me chug. As a matter of fact, I'm drinking some cheap-ass Billy Carter beer. I'm not going to exactly tell you what I'm drinking because you people will probably think less of me, but you know how it is, folks. Us down here in Texas, we love our alcoholic beverages. As a matter of fact, Texas was the only state in the union that allowed people to go ahead and drive the highways, drive the regular streets with an open container. That's right. I mean, in Texas, and this wasn't that long ago. This was in the early 80s and prior. People could literally drive their cars, okay? They could drive their cars and actually have an open container of an alcoholic beverage open and not be put in jail for it. And it was up to the officer's discretion on whether or not you were inebriated or too drunk to drive, and basically that's how they justified most of their drunk driving cases. And you see how well that happened. Texas is probably one of the, well, actually the area that I'm in, the county that I'm in, and I'm not going to say what county I'm in, but it's actually the most DUIs per capita in the nation. So, and I'm not proud of that, but hey, it's the open container law, baby. That's what happened. Anyway, folks, we're going to continue. And how long does my cell phone battery last? Well, hopefully it lasts a pretty darn long time. I got one of these state-of-the-art little touch-screen phones. I'm not really technologically savvy. You know, I usually pay people to do that because, you know, first of all, technology at this point it's become not really too complicated, but, you know, I've got my mind so much on other issues, specifically in the political arena, and that's why I'm unable to, you know, sit here and try to learn and dedicate myself into learning all this little technological gadgets and all that garbage. And, you know, I have a comment here in the chat room, and you can get back to the chat room, folks, at www.blogtalkradio.com/ghost. You can get back to us right there and click on the Chat Now option, and you can chat with us right now live. This is an impromptu edition. This is a special Hump Day edition. This is Wednesday. Well, actually, it's the midnight hour I'm at, so it's actually Thursday morning, early Thursday morning, but who really gives two rat's asses, right, folks? Anyway, folks, we want to talk about the state of America. And first and foremost, I wanted to say we have lost one of the greatest conservative voices that was a staunch advocate for the conservative movement right here in America, and I'm talking about none other than William F. Buckley, Jr. William Buckley was a great, staunch advocate for the conservative movement, and I just wanted to acknowledge his death that happened today, or yesterday, depending on how technical you want to get with this crap, but I wanted to acknowledge his death, and wanted to say he's going to be very missed, even though he was from the other side of the pond. He still advocated the conservative movement, and we all have to, as far as conservatives are concerned, we all have to acknowledge his contribution. He's a great man, very brilliant intellectual, very articulate man, and I have to say he died February 27, 2008. He was 82, I believe. And, you know, the conservative movement is definitely going to miss a true intellectual like William Buckley. But anyway, folks, let's talk about the state of America at this point. Because I believe, in my view, I don't think enough people talk about what's going on right here in the homeland, for Christ's sake. You know, everybody's too busy playing with their pecker shafts, you know, shoveling food down their damn hole like a garbage disposal. I mean, you know, it's just absolutely disgusting. The only reason I come up on here is in hopes, okay, in hopes of trying to spawn debate with people here in America, okay? People here in America. And what is it about America that American people want to talk about? Well, we definitely want to talk about the economy. Okay, I'm not too sure if y'all familiar, but yesterday or today, however you want to technically define this particular present time, the euro dollar has hit its highest rate. Folks, I don't know if you people are familiar with the euro dollar, but the euro dollar is basically wiping its ass crack with the United States American dollar, and for some reason that's not really affecting too many American folks. And the only reason that it isn't affecting too many American folks is because people out here have been dumbed down by a variety of different tentacles, and we've talked about this on many different shows, public education, the liberal media, and the liberal-based governments. And I think people need to start worrying a little bit more about this economy right now. I mean, what they need to do is take their heads out of their clogged-up colon pipes and try to, you know, reevaluate the situation that's out here in America. And I know I say this over and over, folks, but nobody talks about this. Have you noticed that? No one, no politician, no presidential candidate, all they're doing is sticking a Kentucky Fried Chicken grease thumb up their colon to give themselves a prostate massage, because that's the only thing that they're going to get in gratification, is making themselves feel good. That's what these politicians do. They make themselves feel good as opposed to representing the American people. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And, you know, it's a very scary situation here in the American economy. I think that more people need to start talking about this subject matter, whether it's with your friends, whether it's with your family, whether you go out and call your congressman and senator and tell them, hey, look, our devalued dollar is getting a little pathetic out here. Why don't you power-hungry autocrats out there in Washington, why don't you stop flapping your gums and banging interns and lobbyists? Why don't you stop doing that and start, you know, taking into consideration the American public's concerns, you piece of crap? Remember the American public, the people that put you out there? Anyway, folks, I know I sound a little bit bitter. I know I sound a little bit in disgust, folks, but the bottom line is I'm seeing it, and I've witnessed it, and I urge all of you to think and understand the actual landscape that we're dealing with out here in America. And what's the landscape, folks? Unstable economy, this war on terror, high national deficits, a lack of jobs here in America, an immigration problem, health care. I mean, we can go on, and that's my point, folks, is that this system that we live in, and it's your system, folks. If you're an American citizen, it is your system, all right? It is your system because everyone out here believes that these Nimrods that are fed through us through these mainstream outlets called the mainstream media, they believe that whatever these idiots say is law, and it's not law, damn it. You know what's law? What we say is law. And what people need to understand is that, yeah, we live in a free economy, okay? We do live in a free economy. We do live in a free society. We do live on the freest country on the face of the planet. But what people need to understand about democracy and constitutional republic, what people need to understand about this free system is that everybody, okay, and let me put this in your heads one more time, everybody can have influence in this mechanism of government. So you got to think, well, okay, if everybody has a say-so in the mechanism of government, who has more influence? Well, people that have more influence, and like I said over and over and over again, that have influences are people that are organized. And who has the ability, the resources, the financial means to organize people at a rapid rate as opposed to going to a grassroots level? Well, of course it's going to be the corporations. Of course it's going to be the rich folks. And they're going to try to gear government legislation towards their persuasion because they have the ability and means to do so. But remember, folks, this is our government. We have the means and the ability to do so also. The only thing that we're lacking is true financial backing so we can go out and just, hire a bunch of Nimrods to go all over America and say, hey, look, think about this issue or think about this subject. And I think what we need to do is we need to utilize mediums such as the Blog Talk Radio Network here, the blogosphere, other such video content type websites, and try to relay discourse to the American public. And folks, don't try to be a dictator. And what's unfortunate is that with this day and age of the internet, you got a lot of morons out here that think they're the second coming or some crap. I mean, I've seen a lot of blog talk radio shows. I've seen a lot of video bloggers and people in the blogosphere talking so pompous, so arrogant, as if they are the word from the second coming or something. And remember, folks, these people aren't. What these people need to understand is that they need to spawn debate, okay? I mean, that's what their job is, all right? And not to sit over here and think that, you're mini-me or what's that idiot's name on Austin Powers, that Baldwin freak that Mike Myers plays all the time. Don't think that you're one of those idiots. I think you can control everything just by spewing out a bunch of sentence fragments out of your pie hole. It isn't going to happen. What you need to do as a broadcaster, as a blogger, or as a video blogger is you need to spawn debate, okay? That's the job of everyone who has the intestinal or testicular fortitude to do such things. And remember, folks, don't go out on these open forums that are open to the world. Remember, anything that you put on the internet is open to the world. Don't put on nothing that you're going to regret or makes you sound like an absolute imbecile. Because remember, folks, people listen to this, they interpret this, and they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe I need to go this way. Maybe I need to go that way. I mean, remember, folks, the American public has been so dumbed down by education, the influence of the liberal media, and, of course, the influence of the liberal government that gives us handouts and makes the younger generations used to entitlement programs, We have these people influencing our American public, and that's why we are dumbed down as far as a society is concerned. We're dumbed down because the government funds public education. And you see, until that changes and until we change a little bit of what's going on in the liberal media out here, and believe me, folks, that's the, I hate to say this, but that's the exploit of democracy, folks. The exploit of democracy is the power of suggestion. I mean, if you don't believe me, why don't you take a look at the media? I mean, take a look at the mainstream media, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about when I'm saying power of suggestion. I mean, haven't you noticed that most of these media outlets out here that are spewing off all kinds of nonsense about the candidates, they're pretty biased, don't you think? I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm off my rocker. Maybe I'm saying things I don't know what I'm talking about, but the bottom line is, folks, is that they're pretty biased. As a matter of fact, they aided these Republicans that tried to literally isolate all conservatives that were running in this presidential nomination, if you will. And you see, folks, we don't need any of that. We don't want to embrace liberalism, because liberalism is communism, folks. And, you know, I get a lot of emails. I really do. I get a lot of emails from folks that are trying to, you know, scare me into submission, telling me they're going to kill me if I keep saying all this nonsense. And I'm serious. I mean, I'm not just saying that out of my hole here. I mean, I get emails on a consistent basis from liberals, and at the same time, I'm also getting some hate mail from certain Republicans that feel I should stay loyal to the party and vote for John McCain, and I'm not going to do it, folks. And I've advocated anybody who's a true conservative, anybody who's a true old-school Republican, what they need to do is they need to go at a grassroots level. And I know, folks, I know that it's hard. Grassroots work is probably one of the roughest things to participate in as far as political structure is concerned. But people need to take the initiative. I just think that, you know, the public education system, the liberal media, everybody who's influenced the average American, everyday layman, they've influenced America so much that, you know, most Americans could give two rat's asses what happens in the American government. As a matter of fact, not only do most folks don't understand the bureaucracy and the tentacles of our American government that they're supposed to run, because this was a government made for the people, by the people, not only do they not understand the bureaucracy of our government, they don't care. They don't care, folks. And that's why I come up here on a consistent basis, because I want people to start talking about this crap. All right? I mean, stop playing with your pecker shaft and start understanding that you need to start caring about these subject matters. The state of America at this point, folks, is pretty bad. And I'm going to take another drink of this Billy Carter beer that I'm drinking. Pretty good. But either way, folks, the state of America is pretty bad. I mean, anybody who has any kind of clear conscience, anybody who understands the social ramifications of this election, they'll understand that right now we're seeing a transition from what we know of as America, okay? And what do we know of as America? Well, the land of the free, the Constitution. You know, I mean, what the rights, the unalienable rights that were left to us by our forefathers. That's America. Well, we're about to lose that. I mean, we are about to lose what we know of as America, because all the candidates on the presidential end, all of them, and I don't care what side of the political spectrum you think that you're on, it's liberalism, folks. It's liberalism right now. I mean, you look at Barack Hussein Obama, you look at Hillary Rodham Clinton, obviously that's blatant Marxism, communism. And you take a look at the right, which was my party, okay? I was a lifelong Republican, folks. until this election right here, and I single-handedly saw the transition from conservative, which was the root of the Republican Party, into liberal garbage. That's what I saw, folks. And it's pretty goddamn sad. And I don't mean to be spewing off of my hole. I don't mean to be cursing, and I'm sorry. But this is sad, folks, and nobody's talking about this nonsense. Now, I understand why people are lured to liberalism. Believe me. I mean, all the imbeciles that are on the left of the perspective, they always try to make these dramatic speeches, you know. These speeches that they promise that if you elect them, that they're going to take from the rich and give back to the poor. You know, this whole Robin Hood effect. This is what you have out here. This is exactly what you have out here in America. And it's a bunch of nonsense. It really is. It's what it is. And gosh darn it, I just spilt my damn beer. Great. All right, folks. Anyway, I don't know how that happened. Anyway, you can get back to me. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. We're going to go ahead and try to take a call here. I'm going to try to look for some sort of a napkin or not a napkin, or some sort of a towel or something. But this is a great state of America. And the reason I spilled my beer, folks, is I'm pissed off, folks, and nobody else is. Everybody's just tickling their ass crack saying that everything's okay. It's not okay, damn it. It is not okay. And everybody needs to wake up out of this daydream where they think that, you know, this American dream is going to last forever. It's not going to last forever unless you make it last forever, you piece of crap. Anyway, folks, we're going to go ahead and take a call here. There's no phone number. I'm sure you're calling from Skype, so whoever's calling from Skype, go ahead.
That's me. Thank you very much for taking my call.
No problem. How you doing?
I'm great. It's Kev Mac 666. I appreciate the time. Speaking of the state of America, okay?
Okay.
We're all here. We're all living in it, right?
Sure.
We are having massive problems, okay?
Of course.
Whether it be oil prices on the rise, whether it be trying to, appoint one person or another, I think we need to start playing it safe. Look, there's a man out there, okay?
Okay.
Who has served our country, okay? He was kept hostage by the enemy.
All right.
I think if anybody in this entire nation who understands war, who understands anything about this massive debacle, would be Mr. John McCain.
Okay, and is that what you're basing your whole vote on, is the war on terror, sir?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I mean, are you a conservative, or excuse me, let me just put it this way: are you a Republican or Democrat?
I'm a Republican.
Are you conservative or somewhat of a liberal Republican?
It depends upon what issue you're talking about. I don't know.
Are you fiscally conservative, sir?
Once again?
Fiscally conservative, like, you believe that we should be fiscally responsible when it comes to the United States spending and that sort of thing?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is the war on terror going to be the focal point of your vote, or do you think that there should be some other issues that, could be attached to the war on terror? For instance, the economy, the devaluing of the American dollar. Sir, that there are places right here. There are retail outlets in America that will no longer accept American money. They're now accepting the euro dollar.
Euro. Yep. You know what? I cannot have that in my country.
Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? It makes me want to puke up every time I hear about it.
I cannot have that in my country. I served my country. I did my share. I served in the United States Marine Corps.
Well, thank you for your service, sir. First and foremost,
I have done my share. I have done more than my share, and what the thing is it's almost impossible to shake the nonsense out of the people of America because they are so spoon-fed on their way of thinking.
I agree that they have been spoon-fed, but the only criticism that I have against McCain, sir, is because I am a true conservative, first and foremost.
Right.
He has completely isolated himself from the conservative movement, and on top of which, he's gone against fiscal conservatism and social conservatism. I mean, he's basically waved his middle finger to the fact that, hey, look, I'm going to raise gas taxes on you people, no matter if you like it or not, which I think will have a devastating effect on our economy. Not only would it affect the trucking industry, which basically is the economic pipeline of this American continent here, but on top of which it would affect everybody who drives to work, everybody who drives a cab, anybody who drives public transportation. And that's just one of many issues where I believe that John McCain is not fiscally responsible. On the contrary, I think he wants to put more government programs. He wants to embrace the social ills that have become the social norms. Now, let me explain something to you, sir. We just got through January 1st, tax season. There's a lot of people right now getting their tax rebates, tax returns. And you know, sir, that the American family is getting diddly. On the contrary, if the American family makes a little bit above a certain cap point, they've got to pay money back to the government. But you know, sir, that they are actually embracing women, females that have literally had, 6, 7 different kids from 6 or 7 different fathers that are single. You know how much these women are getting back in tax rebates right now?
I mean, how could they get anything back? It's kind of like my point. Okay, that's
okay.
They're going to get plenty back. Okay,
they're going to get $2,000 a kid back. But go ahead.
Well, okay, all right. So they're going to get plenty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're going to get plenty back. With Hillary's stance on socialized medicine.
I agree with that. Hey, believe me, I agree. Before you're going to say it, I agree with you. I don't believe that universal health care is the plan, and I know that Hillary Rotten Clinton is running on that, and you've got Barack Hussein Obama trying to take pop shots at her about that, and I completely disagree. I mean, you look at the public education system and what it's done to our children, and you want the same mechanism of government in charge of your health? I think that's utterly ridiculous, and I mean, if the country goes into a direction of universal health care, we're in big trouble.
We're looking at Canada status.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, I've talked to many people in Canada who've actually waited in line for heart surgery.
Yes. And but you know what? That's probably years after the fact that has actually been put into effect. I mean, there is going to obviously be a trickle down. I mean, you're going to have, I don't know, how many millions of people, breaking down the doors of their emergency rooms, of their doctor's office, saying, we now all have socialized medicine. I have never had medicine before. My leg hurts. My toe hurts. Do you understand what I mean?
No, I agree with you, sir. I mean, we have a lot of hypochondriacs. As a matter of fact, I mean, we are and of course, I don't have any statistical data on this, so I don't
either.
I'd like to make that first and foremost. I don't like to make blanketed statements behind no...
speculation.
Yeah, exactly. But I would speculate. That's a good word. I would speculate that the majority of America, or actually America in general, probably consumes most of the mental drugs, the legal mental drugs that are on the market, on the world market. For instance, Prozac, Xanax, whatever the mental drugs are, all these drugs, Zoloft, and you want...
Is that just me and you?
What's that?
All the Prozac and all the mental health drugs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you got all these people with all these mental health drugs. You think that they're going to go in and use this supposed universal health care system? to their benefit, they're going to go beyond that. You know, if they get a cut in their little on their little elbow, they're probably going to go right to the doctor. I mean, the whole concept of social medicine is a farce. And anybody who looks in the UK, anybody who looks in Canada and understands the bureaucracy behind this and understands the lack of true health care behind this, they'll understand that if you think that health care is expensive now, wait till it's free, because you're not going to get diddly.
Tax dollars as well. Tax dollars as well. You think of, you know, even locally, statewide, your roads, okay. Where are you at there, Ghost?
I'm out there in Texas.
Okay, all right.
Hey, let me tell you something. I'm at the front lines of the road system. We have a ridiculous bureaucracy out here called TxDOT that has basically sold our roads to the highest bidder on the international market. And this is why I've always been on here. Well, I've started getting on the Blog Talk Radio Network talking about subject matters like the possibility of a North American Union. Have you heard about this, sir?
No, I have not.
Well, you know, the possibility of a North American Union seems to be more and more plausible, even though it was just a kind of a concept that came out of a think tank. You know, I mean, a think tank, you know, thought up that, hey, you know, what we should do is we should combine Mexico, the United States, and Canada, unify them under one economy and one currency, and call it the North American Union. And this was a think tank that brought this up. But as you see the nefarious activity, I'm on the front lines here, sir, as far as the border is concerned, and I'm seeing the lackadaisical approach on the border. You take that into consideration that we are funding the TxDOT. TxDOT is funding the NAFTA Superhighway, which is the I-35 corridor that's going to connect all the countries on the North American continent based on economic principles. It's going to be the economic pipeline, I-35 highway, coming in from South America into Mexico, into Texas, and on through all the way to Canada. Now, I didn't believe this, of course. You know, I mean, a think tank thought this up. I thought this was going to be a bunch of malarkey, and anybody who talked about it, I discredited them. But the more and more I see legislation passed, the more and more I see it right here on the front lines that we're building such a highway to basically complement this whole concept of a North American Union. I'm starting to see that the possibilities of us merging with Canada and Mexico is plausible. You take into consideration our devalued American dollar. You take into consideration our lack of production in America. You take into consideration the lack of jobs in America. I mean, you take a whole bunch of factors into consideration. This North American Union concept that was brought up by a think tank seems to be more and more plausible, and that's why I come up on here in hopes of getting people out there in the general American public start talking about these subject matters, because if they don't educate themselves about the bureaucracy of government, they're going to see their government sell themselves out to the interests that actually utilize government for their interests. And what I mean by that are people like bigwigs, corporations, that sort of thing. This is the people's government, but the reason that the people don't participate in it is because they're ignorant of it. And the reason they're ignorant of it is because we have a public education system that doesn't teach them about the different bureaucratic tentacles of our government that belongs to them, that belongs to you, that belongs to every American. And I think that if we don't start educating ourselves about what the politicians, the power-hungry autocrats that are in Washington right now, if we don't understand what these people are doing, they're going to sell us out to the highest bidder, because the individuals that are contributing to their campaign are individuals with economic power. And those with economic power are going to be able to manipulate the legislation of our government. And this is why I think that we need, I'm talking about everybody, we need to start, you know, talking about political subject matters with our family, with our friends. It doesn't matter what political persuasion you are. But we need to start talking about it. If not, the American Constitution is going to be wiped on the derriere of individuals that are selling us out as American people.
So seriously though, all right, so I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
All right.
Okay. I have a river, all right, that separates us from Canada. You, sir, do not. You have...
Well, we have the Rio Grande. But they swim across it, and they could care less. They'll
there you go. All right.
They'll still come by.
Right, exactly. Detroit River, you can't swim across that.
No, I could imagine it's pretty damn cold.
Well, it's pretty damn cold, and the currents are massive. Okay, I mean, you're going to end up being washed off into somewhere. Okay, because you got 5 different lakes going in there. Okay, so nobody decides to do that, but still there are trafficking. Okay, there's trafficking that ends up, and the border control here is probably small as compared to the border control that needs to happen in like Texas, Arizona, California. Okay, so I do understand your feelings. Your feelings. There's too many border crossers, border jumpers that end up here in our nations, and
well, there's 20 million illegal immigrants that are in our country right now that are devaluing the cost of labor. And that means they're bringing down the cost of labor as far as the people in America that have been displaced because of these unbalanced trade deals that these power-hungry autocrats in Washington have signed for us. They've signed us these imbalanced trade deals that send the means of production, manufacture, and textile and whatever outside of America into China, into Mexico, and other third-world countries. And what America is asking those folks to do that have been displaced because of outsourcing, they're asking them to compete for employment right here in America that has been just completely diluted, I should say, with 20 million illegal immigrants that are creating a black market for employment. Now, I just don't understand how that's helping America. And, of course, John McCain, Hillary Rotten Clinton, Barack Hussein Obama, they all have the same concept on what to do to remedy this matter. They believe that, of course, we need to secure our borders, but the 20 million illegals that are in here right now, they're talking about amnesty.
Ship them out.
You're not going to have any qualms from me from that. I think that anybody who's in this country, illegally needs to get the hell out.
Thank you.
And that's all there is to it.
Yes. Thank you very much. I enjoy your show. Kev Mack, 666, Blog Talk Radio. You can listen to me anytime.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
Listen, Ghost, I appreciate it, man. And you know what? We got to ship them out. You know what we got to do? We got to build big freaking buses. Load them all in. Ship them out, baby.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the remedy is to that, because I mean, if we start rounding up buses and that sort of thing, we're going to have civil unrest, just like these liberals agitated back in maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Remember when all these immigrants were out marching and doing all kinds of nonsense, causing riots in L.A. and other immigrant-based cities? You remember that?
Right, yeah. You know what you do? You hold a parade in every single city with a big, gigantic bus at the end of it. I mean, I might be an asshole, pardon me for saying so, but just load them all up in the buses after all the illegal immigrants are there, and load them all up, and there we go.
Well, you know what was a good idea that was proposed by Duncan Hunter and Fred Thompson? I mean, basically, Fred Thompson ripped off Duncan Hunter this idea, but what we should do is cut off federal funding to sanctuary cities. Because cities only run on federal money. And state money, of course, but the majority federal money. Now, the federal government should cut funding on sanctuary cities, people that embrace this sanctuary for illegal immigrants.
LA.
And on top of which, we need to get harder on these business owners, and I'm a business owner myself. And I see these people at the Chamber of Commerce, where I'm located, basically hopping in glee that they have cheap, under-the-table black market labor because of these immigrants out here. And I'm just completely disgusted. I think these people should be thrown in jail. CEOs, business owners that hire illegal immigrants should be thrown in jail.
and they pay cold hard cash, non-taxable.
I agree. Believe me. I mean, you know, you're talking about the immigrants?
Well, no, the business owners.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about paying them hard cash with, you know, 25 cents on the dollar as far as the employment market.
And they don't claim, no, nobody's working for me. It's just me. But yet they got 25 different jobs around the city, and there's, you know, 50 different people cutting their grasses, or you know what I'm saying? I mean,
absolutely. Believe me, I understand what you're saying, and that's the liberal debate. The liberal debate is that, well, they're doing jobs that Americans don't want. That's the debate. But I think that's a bunch of malarkey. I mean, Americans will do any job just as long as it supports themselves and their family. And unfortunately, we don't have enough jobs out here because we don't have any production out here. You know what we produce? We produce cheeseburgers and entertainment. That's the only thing we produce. Remember when we used to have these Levi Strauss
yes, sir.
Manufacturing jobs? We had car manufacturing. I mean, everything. I mean, this wasn't too long ago either. This was about 25, 30 years ago. We had everything, and everybody was employed. Now it's becoming a scarce game as far as employment is concerned. You compound that with the devaluing of the American dollar. You compound that with the amount of American debt that we have as an American government, and it's a serious situation for most folks in America. And what's unfortunate is you don't have any of the candidates that are running for president talking about this subject matter, nor do you have any of the candidates running for the Senate or the Congress talking about this either. No. And I think that most Americans, unfortunately, because of the public education system, the liberal media, and obviously the liberal government that only specifically gives out handouts to single women with like 7 or 8 kids, because of all this environment, we have such a society that embraces this activity.
But one thing that actually two things and I really hate to bring up the fact of Michael Moore. Okay. He brought in the this is way back when he did his documentary, which is actually like a faux.
Are you talking about the one where he talked about Flint, Michigan?
Yeah, well, no, okay, well that's me, but yeah, but he tried to bring in the guy from Nike, okay, and he said that the Nike guy said, well, nobody in America wants to build shoes, okay,
yeah,
and just recently on the television, here I am, I'm watching, and this one show has New Balance shoes being built in America by Americans, and it says built and made in America. Now, I mean, seriously, you think of that, okay, all right, well, New Balance shoes, man, they're what, $30, $40 a piece?
And let me tell you, John McCain made a similar statement, sir. He said that, because he believes in amnesty for the illegal immigrants in America as well. He believes, and he made a statement, I don't know, I think it was about a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago, I don't know how long it was, but he made a statement saying, you know what, I bet you that, he made a bold statement that I will pay Americans $50 an hour to pick lettuce in a lettuce patch, but you have to work the whole season, not just 1 or 2, 3 days or a couple of weeks. They had to work the whole season at $50 an hour.
Right.
Well, there were some individuals that actually took that seriously and tried to call them and email them and contact them for that. But lo and behold, he took down that whole issue off his website. He kind of backtracked himself on that statement. And notice you don't hear him saying that statement again. Because let me tell you something, anybody who's paying $50, not 15, $50 an hour to pick a lettuce patch, let me tell you something, I would do that in a damn heartbeat, but of course, old John Turncoat McCain is talking out both sides of his mouth. Go ahead.
You wouldn't do it for $50 an hour.
Are you kidding me? I would do it for $50 an hour. I mean, I've had listeners that have patronized my radio show here that have suggested that they tried to attempt to contact John McCain via telephone, via email, and, of course, no response because they were willing to go out for $50 an hour and go out and pick a lettuce patch for the whole damn season. And unfortunately,
How long is the season? What?
I think it's about 3-4 months, something like that.
Oh. Well, damn, dude, I'd do that.
Of course you would do it. Hey, hold on a second. We have somebody from the 512 area code, Austin, which is my favorite city. What's going on?
Hi, Andrew Morgan, KACP Success Radio Studios in San Marcos, Texas. Guys, it sounds like y'all have quite a bit of energy going on here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let me tell you, you were in San Marcos. I understand that Barack Obama had a stump speech down there.
Yes, today.
Several hours ago.
Yeah. You were there?
No, I just wanted to ask if you were there. Did you see it? And if you did, what did you think about it?
No, I wasn't there. Hang on just a minute. Give me just a second. Let me check the other members of the studio.
All right. Anyway, folks, like I stated, for the guy from Detroit, are you still there, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well,
Kev Mac, baby, that's it.
What's up?
Kev Mac 666, that's me.
Kev Mac 666?
Yes, sir.
And that's the person from Detroit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me ask you, you said you're voting for McCain, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a Republican. I mean, what do I do?
Now, are you basing that particular vote on pure party loyalty, or are you basing that on actual issues that John McCain has stated outside of the war on terror? Because anybody can say that they're tough on the war on terror. With all due respect to John McCain, I understand he's a war hero. I was in Vietnam. Not too many people know that. But I mean, I appreciate what he did, and believe me, he deserves all the accolades accorded his position. But I know prisoners of war that were in Vietnam.
I am basing it on experience. He has been in the Senate. He has been everywhere. He's been actually looking out. He's been in politics for I don't know how goddamn long. Okay. I'm 34 years old, all right? The man is a solid human being. Look, he may go off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the guy was in a freaking tire box and people poking fucking sticks at him. I mean, pardon my language, but I mean, you know what I mean?
512, do you have results, 512?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, my children were talking about going today, and they ended up doing something else. I was going to try to poll them a little bit and see if I could come up with some information for you. But on that particular thing, zilch. I do have some stuff for you, though, but I'm afraid to bust loose, man, because y'all doing so good, and I'll take your show.
Well, no, just go ahead and tell us, what's on your mind. Hold on, we have another caller from 416. I just want to get them on the line. Are you there?
Hi, yes. Hi. I'm just going to listen in. I'm from Canada, so I'm like not really even in this. I just got my own, little opinion.
All the illegal, aliens there, you Canada woman.
I know.
Canada, you have no idea how much you're into it up to your neck, even though you're in Canada.
What is that? Oh, really?
Canada, you have no idea how much you're up to your neck, even though you're in Canada.
I know. We just kind of sit back and don't get involved. I'm telling you, I'm very appalled, really. But you know what? The Canadians, one thing about them is they really don't they'll just have faith that somebody will take care of them. They don't really even, they'll vote just to say they vote, but I don't know if they really know what they're doing. Yeah, I don't know how anybody can choose one from the other. It's like saying, you know what, you like this brother, but you don't like that brother, and you don't like...
Well, you can choose from one or the other if one or the other has distinctive differences in the two. But unfortunately, in this day and age, right now, this is, the original name of this show was called True Conservative Republican Radio, but I dropped the Republican off my name because of the fact that the Republicans have embraced such a blatant liberal like John McCain. He's a blatant liberal. He wants to raise taxes. He wants to put more government in our faces, more government bureaucracy.
No, you know what? He's taking taxes, and we have to We have to, I mean, we all as a nation have to see what it is that we need and what it is where there's extra money. And you know what? Money was only distributed for value. Once you devalue somebody, right, you then create them into powerless, right? It's only a number that surrounds a person. A company that has millions of dollars invested in it, you know, you could say, well, listen, buddy, here's your $3 million. Now what are you going to do to save your world? Because we don't need your damn company anymore. What are you going to do? Just get a bunch of these millionaires and just take them right off the face of the earth? You can't. You got to get their money working for something. They made that money. They have those industries because they have now a big bank account full of money. What are they going to do? Continue to let these companies, like, you know, pollute the air? You know, unless they're going to
Well, hold on a second. Now, I mean, we're talking about companies pollute the air. I think we have one of the greatest eco standards, even though, I mean, I don't believe in global warming. I think we have one of the greatest.
You don't believe in global warming.
I don't believe in global warming because I don't just read what the mainstream media feeds me. I mean, I'm a critical I go through critical analysis, and if you look at astronomy and you understand that Mars right now, Mars's ice cap is shrinking at a higher rate than Earth's.
Mm.
And what does that tell you? Well, according to astronomers that are actually talking substance, the sun is getting hotter. Okay, now no one understands why. No one understands what's happening. Whether
we need more energy. We're using more energy.
That's why it's about to burst. It's a freaking star, man.
you honestly think that it's one of those supernovas?
When we take it from light to, like, you know, a solid. See, we have to go from matter to spirit. We have to go from matter to consciousness.
What?
We have to, like, see ourselves as an image rather than something that bleeds and dies. You know, I know that kind of sounds all far-fetched.
Talking about Democrats and
I'm sorry. I just, you know, I recognize that voice.
I love you, honey. You sound sexy, but, you know, come on now. Stay on topic.
I'm sorry. Let me get back to it. I get off topic. I remember I'm from Canada. I'm a big dip, and plus I'm blonde, too. So.
Oh, you're from Canada. There you go. All right. Socialized medicine. How's that going?
You know what I'm doing? I'm trying to just take it back to the kindergarten days. What'd you say? What'd you say, smarty pants?
I said socialized medicine. How's that going for you?
Socialized medicine? Great.
Yes.
You know what?
Okay.
You guys are better off, though, because we have to sit in a stupid emergency room for 15 friggin' hours.
Thank you.
Of course. That's why America doesn't want universal health care.
But you know what? Another thing you guys are good for, because you guys have to have mind over matter if you got no health care, man. There's probably a lot.
Oh man, you know what? I've heard this person before. I mean, believe me, you know, he or it or she-male, whatever, is called not only this show but a variety of different shows, and made this absolute malarkey, concept that we got to get him spiritually, and you know, all this new age horse crap.
It's a fucking star. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, it's a fucking star. Isn't that what it is? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, look, all I'm talking about is politics, okay? I'm not trying to sit over here. I'm not saying that, the stars, and we need to get spiritual. And, we need to get the energy. The energy needs to go into, I mean, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying that either. I said, look that's enough of that shit.
I'm sorry. I know, believe me, it's kind of a laugher, but I mean, with all due respect to that Canadian bacon, I don't know if it was a broad, a trans-testicle, or whatever it was. I mean, I'm sorry, but we're talking substance here. We're talking about political matters that affect America. And, of course, those that are outside of America can have political opinions about what we're doing out here as far as the American government, American legislation, American foreign policy is concerned. But let's provide some substance. Let's not go into some sort of spiritual, you know, Miss Cleo kind of crap.
Right.
I got a spin for you.
Go ahead.
Andrew Morgan, KSCP Success Radio. Hey, you know, anytime we want to do something, if we notice a problem, you know, we got to make sure that we're not focused on the problem. We need to know what the problem is and focus long enough on everything to know that there's a problem. And as soon as we find the problem, now we need to focus on the solution. And I'm sure everybody would agree with that.
Well, absolutely. I mean, don't you think we know what the problem? I mean, anybody who has any kind of common sense as American will know that there's a problem in the economy, the value of the American dollar, the national debt.
That was just a forerunner to my point. My point is that okay, we're talking about politics here, and I see your forum in the show, and that's great. And there's plenty of talk can be done back and forth in politics, and some little changes made in here and there. But if you notice the problem that I notice, then you'll be able to get a bird's eye view from a little bit higher up over the planet looking down and see that the whole political scene was created to keep 99% of the Americans' eyes off of the real problem.
Of course, and I've been talking about that, sir. I have been talking about politics.
As long as they can keep you talking about politics and how you can go in and do these little things and rally and band together a few little people, you might can affect some change. But the reality is that there's 10 families that control this whole planet, and they've
you know what,
government.
You know what, sir? And believe me, I've heard that before. But let me tell you, we still live in a free society. Now, I agree with you that we're transitioning into a free society, into a socialist, quasi-communist society. And the only reason I can still have faith in the fact that American government, the American way of life is still somewhat free, is the empirical evidence of the civil rights movement. I mean, the civil rights movement goes to show you that if you have enough people, enough of the American populace that believe in your view, your idea, your issue, that the American government will crack. I mean, the civil rights movement was written in by Lyndon Baines Johnson. Lyndon Baines Johnson was a historical racist, and if you don't believe me, you can go look back at the archives of Lyndon Baines Johnson's phone calls with different personalities. Remember, they recorded the White House and that sort of thing. You can go back, I don't know if it's on C-SPAN or you can utilize whatever search engine that you utilize to gather information, but if you look those up, you'll understand this man had no respect for any race that wasn't as pasty as he was. And you see, what my point is that Lyndon Baines Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act. Why did he do it? He did it because the American public wanted it to do it.
What about whenever we went bankrupt? But people don't even know that the United States is bankrupt and that they borrowed worthless money, and there's nothing written in the contract that says when to pay it back. The only thing that the contract says is that we have your birth certificates, we have your land, and we have your gross product, and we also have your commitment to pay the interest. We'll loan you more anytime you need it. Anytime you need it, but anytime we're ready to call this debt, we own your birth certificates, we own all of your land, whether it's either domestic or foreignly held, foreign land held by the United States, and all the gross national product. And
I agree with you, sir. Let me tell you something. I agree with you, and I think that we need to start recouping the losses from the debt that we have as far as the American government is concerned. But at this point, right now, we don't have conservatives, fiscal conservatives. We don't have any of the presidential candidates that are out here. Now, look, Iraq at this point, I believed in Iraq. I believed George W. Bush when he said that we were battling a form of ideology. We need to establish and sow the seeds of democracy in the part of the world that's been subjugated by tyrannical theocratic zealots that subjugate people with, religious zealousy, and they make these people believe from birth that if they kill enough people while they kill themselves, they're going to have religious significance in the afterlife. I believe that.
Well, what about Americans? We're teaching our children that from birth, you go to school, you make good grades, you graduate, you go to college, you do good, you get this piece of paper that you pay anywhere from $25,000 to $45,000 for in 4 to 5, 6 years of your life, that piece of paper that says you're now eligible to work for somebody else. Why aren't we teaching our kids from kindergarten free enterprise and how to be successful? Financial success is a
I agree, sir. And, if you look back in my archive, you'll hear me talking about the public education system. I am one of the most just...
It's appalling.
The enemies of public education. The only reason that public education is around is because the individuals that have infiltrated the apparatus of public education, which are all the feminists and the liberals that are out here spewing off all this political correctness and gender-biased garbage, they have anesthetized our children, and not only our children, but maybe some of us as well that recently got out of the public education system. They subjugate us with this political correctness, gender bias, the whole 9 yards. And if you don't believe me, sir, take a look at the American Idol. Now, I know that American... Let me tell you, I know that many people are going to say, well, American Idol is just a show. It's just ridiculous. It's stupid. Well, they actually go into communities all over the United States to try to look for supposed potential singers. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the males that are in this year's American Idols. If you take a look at them, sir, they all look like they popped out of the ass crack of Boy George.
They're pansies.
And then,
yes, boys.
But you see, you have to understand why that's happening. Why that's happening is because of the liberal and feminist agenda that has taken over the apparatus of public education. And this is why we need to disband public education. We need to privatize it. We need to make sure that, no type of communist Marxist influence is involved in our education system. And that's all that's in our education system, sir. Political correctness, gender biases, that is all written by Marxists, devout Marxists out of Frankfurt University. And I'd like for you to do your own research on this. Look up Frankfurt University, look who started that university, and look who actually wrote political theory on that university, and you'll see that all this political correctness, all this feminist movement, all this garbage that we're seeing nowadays that's rearranging the social landscape of America, it's derived from Frankfurt University and the theologians, or the political theorists, I should say,
that's correct.
From that university.
You're preaching to the choir, brother. And something you said a while ago about spiritualism. Man, that's where we differ a little bit. What I call that is the Jezebel spirit. There's a power and principality that's at play here, and it's not just in that arena. It's in a whole bunch of others, and it's a Jezebel spirit that really opposing the Creator.
Well, you're talking about the Jezebel spirit. Are you talking about females that are out philandering, having 7 or 8 kids? That sort of thing?
I'm talking about a demonic spirit that has infiltrated minds on this planet and set up a system that the masses are involved with. That's a financial social control. That's KACP Success Radio's mission, by the way, is to abolish that this year, 2008. So say not the year that I started this, but in 2008, we're planning on abolishing that by touching people like you and showing you our mission statement and having other different venues, other radio stations and private media and people involved. And let's actually do it on the home level instead of worrying about going to Congress and changing that. Let's do it in the revolutionary level, which is at home with our children at home. Get those children out of those public schools and homeschool them. If you got any problem with that, if the government's got any problem with that, get with us. We'll show you where to go to take the right legal stands.
Hey, you're not getting any qualms with me when it comes to the homeschool and privatization of education. Believe me, I completely agree with you.
I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't be letting my voice be heard on your radio station if I hadn't already checked you out.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something, sir. I believe that we need to get back to American principles. I remember about maybe 40, 45 years ago, you were shunned. I mean, you were outcasted if you, whether you were male or female, had a child out of wedlock. Do you remember that?
Yep.
I mean, do you remember the time when you were just completely outcasted, shunned, looked on as a moron if you got a divorce? I mean, now you've got individuals out here having about 6 or 7 divorces, and they're changing divorces like they're changing dirty, skid-marked underwear.
Oh, no, hold on, whoa. The government are paying teenage girls to have babies.
And that's why, you know what, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm really glad you brought that up, sir, because I've been saying that, and I've been screaming that on this show for a long time out here, and I've been chastised. I've been personally attacked by Republicans that feel that that is just not an issue for the Republicans to go and delve themselves into. I mean, haven't you noticed that the social ills of America, females and males having 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 different kids from 7, 8, 9, 12 different partners, divorces. I mean, you've got all this garbage. Nobody talks about this, and you say you have a radio show, right, sir?
KACP, Success Radio. You listen to the radio station that your boss does not want you to know about.
Well, I am glad that you at least are talking about this as well as I am, because I felt like I've been just sitting here talking to myself about being a foot soldier for the American family. Seriously. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over you, but I've been in building business, you know, for a long time, and I've been offering other people viable opportunities because people are screaming to be out from under their financial control, okay, and to have things, and they're working their job. And in the process, I've been dealing with these 98% basically idiots, and I was one myself, that you know, they're crybabies, they're whiners, they don't know how to stand up, they've been taught fear all their lives, they've been taught, you know, to be a sheeple and be led around, they've been taught to be told what to do, not to stand up and be the leader themselves. Jeez, man, we got to change this, and we got to change it with our kids in our home. I agree. You know what, sir? I really agree with that, and that's the first thing I've been telling most folks to do out here that listen to me on a consistent basis, that they need to, really need to relay these family values and the essence of humanity, and I'm one that argues all the time, especially with these liberals that like to harp on evolution so much. I'm always telling them that, well, you want to talk about evolution? Let's go ahead and do it. Let's talk about the first civilization that's recorded through anthropology and geologic record. The first civilization, the first real civilization, what was the motivating force behind it? Family. Family was the first thing.
Didn't hear that. The first motivating force what?
No, the first civilization, the motivating force behind them, what drove them to continue to build their civilization, to hunt animals that were 2, 3, 4, 5 times their size, was family. They went out.
Family, yeah. Come on, you're doing good. Come on, brother.
And that's what I've been trying to tell people out here. But, you know, I have so many liberals. I mean, you couldn't even imagine how many liberals that are out here telling me that, oh, well, you know what, Ghost? What you're seeing in America, this is social evolution. This is what's supposed to happen.
Man, that's about as true as the war on drugs. There's no war on drugs.
I agree, and this is what I've been telling folks, is that social evolution, first of all, doesn't exist. Because if you want to debate on the evolution issue, Charles Darwin, who wrote The Origin of Species and Natural Selection, which I've read many times, he even stated himself that, well, my whole theory or concept of natural selection was not intended to pertain to America's social landscape. He even said it. There's no such thing as social evolution. I mean, Charles Darwin said it. So the man who created evolution as a form of science, as a form of humans, you know, crawled up out for monkeys or whatever the case might be. The bottom line is that
he had a good show going, man. He had a good show, but he forgot to go out there and plant the fossils that show the in-between times from the different distinct stages. You know, the ones that's got the legs that are starting to grow out and the wings that are starting to grow out. He forgot to put all those fossils in the ground. You know, he can show you one stage, you know, one distinct stage, and then, oh, this became that, but he can't show you the fossils in between.
I agree. Believe me, I agree. And you know what I always try to debate every evolutionist on is that, okay, look, you know, there's some plausibility. It's a possibility, just like Star Wars, for Christ's sake, is a possibility. But evolution is a possibility. You take one, like, you know, one feathered animal and it evolved into a damn bird, whatever the case might be, based on the geologic record, based on the anthropology record. But it's been historically and scientifically documented that they cannot link humanity, the original civilization of humans that had conscience, that thought, that actually had morals. I mean, you know, morals, in my view, are just something instinctive, if you will.
Well, I'm here to tell you that the geological records does not show at all in any form evolution. It shows species after species, and the farce is that this species evolved into that one, but the geological records and the fossil records show distinct things. It doesn't show the transitioning periods. Like fish have legs. There's no fossils whatsoever that show fish slowly over the years growing legs. The fossil records are not there. It's all a lie.
Actually, absolutely. I mean, this is all a power of suggestion. Now, I agree. Now, I've taken a lot of geological classes. Geology shows us if you look at the sediment as we drill down, if we go off the coast a little bit and start drilling into the crust, and we start seeing different elements that suggest to scientists that the world has gone through all kinds of different metamorphoses. It's gone through a flood stage, an ice age. I mean, there's geological records that suggest that there was a pole shift and that sort of thing. But as far as the geologic record is concerned, by connecting man to monkeys, it's not connected. And this is what I've been telling most
not at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been telling most of these people that are on here that believe evolution. And I've schooled them. You can take a look at my archive. Oh, I've schooled them. I've made them look like mental midgets.
Wake up, people.
Because I've asked them, I said, well, what's the missing link? What is it? I mean, don't you think that we would have found it by now through the geologic digs and anthropology digs? Don't you think that we would have been able to find the missing link? We've been able to find every civilization that has existed in the world, everywhere from the Sumerians to Mesopotamia to Egypt. And yet we cannot find any kind of document or geologic or anthropology evidence that suggests that we evolved from apes. This is all pure speculation, and they're teaching this crap in our schools. That's what makes
speculation. Man, it's flat out lies, smoke and mirrors. There's no speculation to it. They knew what they were doing. It's lies. It's so.
It's absolutely horrible, is what it is. I mean, you have to think that there has to be something genuinely different in humanity. I mean, humanity is the only species that's been able to go outside the jungle. Because remember, we're all products of the jungle, and what's the king of the jungle? The lion, right? Well, there has to be something that's completely different from humanity that separates ourselves from these animals. Because we have a conscience. We can think. We have the ability to erect science and physics and chemistry. I mean, philosophy, poetry. I mean, we can go on and on about the different facets of the American mind as far as the creativity is concerned. And how the hell are you going to explain that when you're trying to explain to us that we came from a damn ape or a damn chimp?
Right. The mind of man also has the power to create a system to control 99 9/10% of the population of any planet by just a handful of people that are in agreement.
Well, you have to contribute to the fact that the reason that everyone is being controlled, so to speak, is the fact that we have a public education system that dumbs down every generation. And believe me, I mean, if you talk, and I suggest to everyone out there, I suggest you talk to somebody under the age of 18 or somebody who recently graduated from high school and ask them a few questions about something that is pretty much universal with anybody with any goddamn common sense, okay? And you ask them a question, they're not going to be able to answer. You're going to be completely disappointed with the lack of education by those who graduated from high school. Well, why is that? Because the public education apparatus has been purposely erected by the government to dumb down generations. That's why they don't tell you in public education what your government is about. They don't tell you the bureaucracy and the complicated tentacles that create our government. They don't tell you about how you can participate as an individual in our government. They don't tell you about any of that garbage.
That's right. They don't tell you how to be financially independent. It's a proven science.
Of course they don't teach you how to be financially independent. The whole concept of public education and then them moving on to collegiate education is to work. Is to work for somebody else and just be happy with it. That's basically what it comes down to. And you see, we live in a capitalist system where everyone is supposed to have an opportunity to be born into nothing and to make something out of themselves once they leave this life. Right. But the more and more we progress into the new millennium out here, we're in 2008, it seems to me more and more implausible and almost impossible for the average American layman who was raised in, whatever precarious poverty-stricken society in America. They are finding it more and more harder to get out of those environments, even though they're desperately seeking to get out of those environments. There's not enough jobs. We got 20 million illegal immigrants devaluing the cost of labor. I just go on and on. Devalued dollar, the whole 9 yards. And I just think that what we need to do as American people, and I'm glad that you're involved in this too, sir, is that we need to start talking about issues to everybody, your family, your friends. We need to utilize tools like the Blog Talk Radio Network, voice chat communities, whatever. We need to do whatever it takes to spawn debate, because that's the only thing that's going to be able to change our particular government system. Because this government system belongs to us. Okay? It belongs to the American people. And what's unfortunate is that most of the American people are out here so dumbed down because of the influence of public education, the influence of the liberal media, and obviously the embracing of the single-parent lifestyle by the American government. They have all these obstacles against them, and there's nobody out there telling them, saying, hey, wait a minute, do you remember humanity? Do you remember the first civilization that's been recorded through the geologic record and anthropology? The motivating factor for the first civilization of man was family. And here you got an American government trying to decimate the family. I had a couple call in about several weeks ago about how they had rough times and how it was hard to maintain their family because of the influx of American immigrants, the devaluing of the American dollar, and the lack of jobs. And you know what they told me? They said that the wife of this couple went into a supposed, little social worker area. However these government institutions delegate welfare and all these entitlement programs, she went to one of these locations. She talked to a social worker, so to speak.
You mean a public servant?
Yeah. And she asked him, look, I've never, ever taken a public subsidy in my life. I'm a proud woman. My husband is a proud man, and we don't want to do this, but the only reason we're doing this is because we have to do it. And what can you do for me? And you know what the social worker told this one? She said, okay, ma'am, well, we can help you, but we can only offer you a very minute amount of entitlement, if you will, if you're still with your husband. Now, if you divorce your husband, or if you separate from your husband, I'm serious. This is a real story, and this is not the first story I've heard. This is a government institution suggesting to a woman with 3 children that if by some chance you divorce your husband or separate from your husband, well, we can give you food stamps, government cheese, subsidized housing, free health care, free education. I mean, they just started naming all kinds of subsidies in the book.
And by the way, if you'll take your adolescent girls and get them pregnant, then we can up your income by about $4,000 or $5,000 a month, baby peas.
It's just sad, man. And nobody on BTR, nobody on the regular mainstream media, nobody is talking about this crap. I mean, we're seeing the decimation of the American family, and it's not just in America, it's the westernized world. If you look at Australia has 75% divorce rate. I mean, I talked to some young men from Australia a while back. You know, I used to go into these voice chat communities until I found out they were filled with nothing but a bunch of perverted idiots. Well, I talked to a couple of Australians, and they were talking amongst each other because I brought up the whole concept of the American family and how we need to save it. And these poor Australian kangaroo-banging bastards. I mean, you know, poor guys. I really felt sorry for them because they were talking amongst each other. And, of course, I was observing, or listening, I should say. And they were talking amongst each other and saying, you know, it's unfortunate that here in Australia we can't find a wife because most women are single. They have, I mean, they're suffering through the same epidemic we are. It's only at an even more rapid pace. I mean, there's a lot of females in Australia that are out there, you know, having 7 or 8, 9, 12 different kids from 12 different fathers, whatever the case might be. And you've got males out here that are, you know, young guys, intellectual, smart guys that are like 20-something, mid-20s, early 20s, that have already submitted themselves to the fact that they're never going to get a wife. Not because they don't want a wife. It's because of the social landscape created by the liberals and feminists that have infiltrated every Western country in the world, if you will. And the only reason America is still at a coin flip when it comes to marriage, we're still at 50-50. Australia is 75% divorce rate. Germany, 70% divorce rate, and I could continue to go on about Western countries. But the reason that America's 50% divorce rate is because of the conservative movement. And that's the only way, and I think that if we don't save the American family, we're going to see this easy transition that we're seeing right now into what we know of as America, into something that's socialist, quasi-communist, if you will.
I agree. You know, and I want to encourage you to take another look at the spiritual aspect.
Okay.
I really do, because, you know, that's where I'm coming from. You know, I've been out there. I've been kicked in the teeth. I've been a bad boy, and I'm not a bad boy anymore. I've been sealed and sanctified. Something has changed on the inside. It didn't come from me. It didn't come, you know, from within me. It came to me and resided in me. And there's some noticeable things. And I'm not going to go into all that, man. You know, just take another look at the spiritual side of things, because that's how the family stays together. You've heard it said, the family that plays together and prays together stays together. So if we work on the family, you know, with the spiritual things, that's the only way we're going to be able to touch people is through spiritual, you know, and actually moving on their spirit. We can think of this stuff intellectually, you know, but that's not deep enough. It needs to go a lot deeper than intellectually. And I just want to encourage you to take another look at the spiritual side of things. Not religious, mind you, not the religious and not the fanatical, but the true spiritual side of things. And, you know, like I told you when I first come on here, you got to be careful to keep me from going, because I'll take the show. You know, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to back out now and give some of your other callers the opportunity to take the floor here, because, man, I'll tell you, I really appreciate your energy. You know, you have a mission, you have a passion, and I encourage you to keep on and make it and blow it up, dude. Let's light it up.
Absolutely, sir.
Come on my show. You can
absolutely.
Okay? You got me as a listener now. You have Chris Dockery from Las Vegas, Nevada, is listening right now. He's the vice president of KACP. He was the vice president. He's now COO of KACP Success Radio. And, you know, you'll see our little logos there on your listener deal. Just click on there and come over and check us out, listen to us, and come call in on one of our shows. We probably can bounce some of this stuff back and forth, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't have to hog each other's show or anything like that, but you got to watch me, because I have a tendency to do that, all right?
All right, no problem. I'll definitely do that.
All right, dude. Hey, what's your first name?
Well, they call me Ghost around here. Unfortunately, I have so many people that want to kill me because of my politics.
That's why I asked you what's your first name. What I can call you.
Well, just call me that. That's my little online screen name. I don't want anybody to know my first name or my age, because you know how hackers are. All they need is a first name and an age, and before you know it, you got a damn credit card name after you.
Yeah. Well, I still hadn't caught it. What's I see the ozone. Repeat it for me, please.
Well, this is True Conservative Radio, hosted by a Ghost. That's the name of this program.
Oh, okay, Ghost. I'll just call you Ghost then.
That's right. That's
okay.
right. Just go.
I'm Andrew Morgan, 136 Kid Ranch Lane, San Marcos, Texas, United States of America. I'm proud. I stand up, and I'm protected, sealed, and sanctified. You can take my address, you can take my phone number, and do whatever you want to do, but all the ordinances written against me are abolished in Jesus' name. Hey, man, it's good meeting you. I look forward to seeing you over there.
It's great meeting you as well, and thank you for trying to continue on the American family way of life as opposed to submitting to the social ills that the liberal media, the government, and the social ramifications are trying to make the social norm, if you will.
That's right. We got to band together, arm in arm, and get on the same page. We might have differences, but we at least need to be on the same page with them. Okay, I'm gone, man. I'm still listening, but I'm gone.
Thank you very much, sir. You have yourself a pleasant evening or morning.
All right, God bless.
Thank you. And that's what it comes down to, folks, is that we need to go back to brass tacks. And what's brass tacks? That means we need to understand that America should be the first and foremost thought process on every American's mind. But it's not, folks. Well, that's my point. It's not. I mean, all it is nothing but a bunch of malarkey, if you will. I mean, you got a lot of people that are spewing off a bunch of nonsense that means two craps. You got a lot of liberals out here, and all you that have been listening to my show, and I encourage all of you to listen to my show on the archive. You can get back to that at blogtalkradio.com/ghost, GHOST, and you'll see that there are a lot of liberal, long-haired, bedwetting, tree-hugging, whale-saving hippies that are out here trying to silence me, trying to spread all kinds of slanderous lies about me and all that other nonsense, but they can continue doing that. But the bottom line is, folks, is that I love America. Now, let's talk about a little bit about the candidates, so to speak. The candidates that we have out here for presidential candidates. But what we have out here is nothing but a bunch of malarkey. All right, we got John Turncoat McCain that's out here, spewing off a bunch of nonsense about raising gas taxes, a bunch of nonsense about, just all kinds of malarkey. I mean, I just don't understand why nobody appreciates the American Constitution anymore, and everybody's just massaging their prostate with a thumb up their cornhole. And I don't mean to be so graphic, folks, but the bottom line is this is America. America is the land of the free. America is the foundation of America is the American Constitution, and everybody who seems to forget about that, just seems to be, sitting there playing with their pecker shaft or something. I don't know. Anyway, folks, I encourage all of you to give me a call right now, 646-652-4869. We've had some great debate this evening. Like I've stated previous, the only reason that I've been somewhat inconsistent with True Conservative Radio is because I want the listeners out there that appreciate the political commentary, appreciate, everything I say. I'd like for you to tell me when would be the best time to go out and broadcast. Because I want to broadcast on a more habitual basis. I think that America at this point has been so dumbed down, and I've stated this previous, it's been so dumbed down by the public education system, the liberal media, and all these entitlement programs that have been initiated by the liberal portion of the government. We have all these facets trying to decimate the American family, and it's making me sick, folks. The social ills have become the social norms. And what do I mean by the social ills? I'm talking about women out here shitting out about 5 or 6, 7 different kids from 5 or 6 different fathers. I'm talking about people that are having 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 different divorces. I mean, they're changing divorces like they're changing dirty, shitty underwear. I'm talking about this ridiculous garbage that we're seeing out here in the damn media. I mean, what do we have? We have Britney Spears out here shaving her noggin, right? She shaves her noggin. And how much does the mainstream media embrace that? It embraces that a little bit too much, folks. And why? Why does it do it? Why? Because I'm telling you, folks, the public education system doesn't want you to have anything to do with cognitive reasoning, critical thinking. I mean, they're trying to retard you from that. They're trying to retard your creativity, critical thinking. They're trying to retard you from that. And they're doing a pretty good job, folks. And I think that what everybody needs to understand is they need to get out of their simplistic mind. There's a lot of people out there that believe that life is about getting up in the morning, going to work, raising their family, and that's all that's all the responsibility that they have to worry about. I mean, that's what they think. Work and family. Well, let me tell you something, folks. And I know that this burdens most of the people out here, but the American public, hello? Hello? Hold on, it's saying that, are we here? What the hell's going on? I've lost my switchboard. I have lost my switchboard. Hold on a second. Don't tell me that Blog Talk Radio is doing this again. We're having problems once again. Do people hear me out here? I don't know if anybody hears me, for Christ's sake. I mean, you know, it is another thing, and I don't mean to be critical of Blog Talk Radio, but with all due respect, Blog Talk Radio, get your act together, you piece of crap, all right? I mean, take the damn Kentucky Fried Chicken grease thumb out of your ass pipe, all right? Put it in your mouth and taste the amount of just absolute disgust that most of us hosts have for this ridiculous garbage that you continue to spew out here. I'm glad that I'm still on, and I'm glad that people are still hearing me out here. But right here on the damn switchboard, all I'm hearing, I don't even see my name. I don't see nothing. And the Blog Talk Radio Network needs to understand that, hey, you remember us, the Blog Talk Radio hosts? We're the ones providing you content, you piece of crap. We're the ones that allow you to sell this ridiculous advertising that you do to our show. So the least you could do is just run this just a little bit better. Anyway, that's besides the point. Okay, that's absolutely besides the point, and I'm sorry that everybody had to hear my absolute disdain for this ridiculous Blog Talk Radio Network garbage. But what the hell can I say? You know, what can I do? We've got about 27 minutes remaining. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my switchboard and see if I can re-log into the damn thing. I don't know what's going on here. It seems like everybody's just tickling their ass crack over there at Blog Talk Radio saying, you piece of crap, wake up, man. Wake the damn hell up. I'm going to go ahead and reopen my switchboard, and hopefully I can see myself on it. And I don't, once again, I don't see it. It says waiting for host to call in, all right? It's saying waiting for host to call in. Is anybody hearing me over here? I know that we only have 26 minutes on the program, but this is absolutely obnoxious, with all due respect to Blog Talk Radio. And let me tell you, I appreciate the fact that Blog Talk Radio allows us the forum to go ahead and, say what we believe, say what we feel. I mean, while we still have the First Amendment left, for Christ's sake. But once again, all I'm saying, hey, hello, call back in? Uh-oh. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call back in, folks. All right, I'm hoping that I'm back on here. Now I'm seeing myself on the switchboard, and I'm sorry to all you folks that are out there having to wait for this garbage. You know, I don't know what in the blue hell has happened to Blog Talk Radio. It seems to me that they're putting a condom on a G.I. Joe and sitting on the damn thing during this time of the night. And I'm sorry once again. Anyway, folks, we're going to continue talking about America and how we can improve it, how the American people can make themselves more intelligent on the fact that, hey, we need to read about the bureaucracy of government. We need to understand the tentacles of what our government is. It's our government, damn it. All right, it's our government, for Christ's sake. And I don't understand. And I'm really sorry for the folks that are out here, wondering what in the blue hell happened to Ghost out here. I'm sorry. I mean, I had nothing to do with this ridiculous, dumbass blog talk radio crap. Okay? It makes me sick, okay, folks? I mean, believe me, okay? I mean, I want everybody out there to have political discourse on subject matters that pertain to American people. And what do I have? I mean, I've had this ridiculous blog talk radio garbage sitting over here having a problem with my show for the past about 2-3 weeks, damn it. And all I want to do is broadcast to folks. That's all I want to do. I just want to stimulate debate and that sort of thing. I mean, all these idiots sitting over here trying to silence me, for Christ's sake. I bet you if there was fat, jelly-ass, balding Ed Morrissey's program, I'm sure Ed Morrissey's program will be all right. But because this is Ghost program, True Conservative Radio, let's just go ahead and shut this man up. All right? I mean, that's what I think that Blog Talk Radio is doing. And I think that's disgusting, man. I think, what, Blog Talk Radio, you need to, take your damn G.I. Joe with a condom on it out of your damn poop chute and understand who is continuing to have your little best interest at hand over here. And I'm sorry for getting so upset, folks. I mean, I really am sorry. I mean, I'm a little upset here because of the fact that, all I'm doing is trying to provide some political conservative commentary, and it seems to me, especially if you've been listening to me for the past couple of weeks, it seems to me that the Blog Talk Radio Network is seeming to trying to silence me or something. Because I don't believe in old fat jelly-ass Ed Morrissey's little perspective, or whatever the case might be. Whatever the damn case might be, it makes me sick. It makes me disgusted. I don't understand why they're trying to silence a true conservative. But let me tell you something, folks. I don't care how late it is. I don't care how many people hear me. People need to understand that the conservative movement is alive and well. We are not going to bow down to this damn liberal John McCain that's sitting over here spewing off a bunch of nonsense, talking about amnesty for illegal immigrants. I'm not going to sit here and take that crap. And you see, that's why you have all these ridiculous Republicans on the Blog Talk Radio Network chastising me, spreading personal attacks about me, spreading slanderous lies about me, because they know that I will not vote. I will not vote against my principles. I will not vote against my true conservative principles and my old school Republican principles. I mean, that's why I'm being chastised right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, folks. And to me, with all due respect to everybody that's listening right now, I think that the Blog Talk Radio Network is trying to silence old Ghost over here. And I don't know why. I mean, I thought this was freedom of speech, right? Anyway, folks, I'm just going ballistic out here because let me tell you, I think that everybody's viewpoint, whether it's a crackpot viewpoint, whether it's a legitimate viewpoint, I think that everybody's viewpoint should be considered. And not sitting out here trying to, we're having technical difficulties like Blog Talk Radio is trying to say. I bet you if this was Ed Morrissey's damn program, you wouldn't have a problem, would you there, Blog Talk Radio? Piece of crap. Anyway, I'm sorry for going off here. I'm going to go ahead and take... I'm sorry, folks. I'm all upset because, it happens to me every time. I just don't know. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and put on 516 on the line here. 516, you're on the air.
How you doing, Ghost?
How you doing? Is this Ozone?
Yes, it is.
How you doing, man?
Pretty good. I don't think anyone's going to be able to silence you with your voice.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, but to be honest, I was listening to Ed Morrissey today, and the first 20 minutes of the show, no one could hear anything. We just heard some weird sounds for the first 20 full minutes of the show. So it's not just you. I think it's That's why Blog Talk Radio is free. The second all these bugs are gone, they're going to start charging.
Well, you know what? I mean, if they start charging, well, that would be a damn shame because, I mean, we as a host, you, Ozone, and anybody else who hosts the show, brought all the people that know about Blog Talk Radio into Blog Talk Radio. So if they start charging hosts that have been here since day one, they can kiss my derriere.
Well, you know, the only reason I say that because I'm in the software business, and normally with websites, when they still have bugs in their service, they'll always remain free because if you charge, you're going to have a whole new set of problems. So basically, I don't know, hopefully they'll keep it free, but normally that's what happens. Once they have the software running perfectly, that's when the service normally starts to charge.
Well, that's absolute garbage, and if that's the case, man, every host that's on Blog Talk Radio should have a class action lawsuit against this damn company. Because, you know, when I first got on this company, it said, hey, we're going to split the advertising revenues. Hey, how you doing? You know, we're cool. This is a utopia. And now, and unfortunately, I understand why that we're having such a log jam, if you will. We have a lot of people out here thinking they're hosts. And, I mean, look, this is a citizen broadcast kind of network, so to speak, and I think everybody should have a voice in saying what they need to say. But the bottom line is I've been around a lot of these ridiculous shows out here, and, you know, none of them are actually providing any kind of legitimate commentary. I mean, as far as the politics are concerned, I haven't really tried out any of the other genres, but I'm talking about politics. And, of course, Ozone, your political show is pretty good. You're pretty much of an open format, kind of round table type of thing, and of course, I always try to listen to your show whenever I'm online, but for the most part, Ozone, I mean, most shows are just regurgitated garbage that speak about nothing that the American people care about, no?
Right. They're more watching the race. Like, every move in the race is important, but they're not talking about the actual substance. Like, they talked about Obama for a year and a half, and people don't know 90% of his positions because they're only following the race. Like, they're commentating on a basketball game. They're not talking about the substance.
I agree. And at the same time, I mean, if you look at most of the Democrats that are voting for either Barack Obama or Hillary Rodham Clinton, I mean, there really is no substance outside of, like, one issue. I mean, that's how these Democrats are winning their constituency is based on one issue, whether it's health care, whether it's, you know, some other handout program, entitlement program. That's how they're winning their election. And I think that since we as Republicans, and I hate to say this, Ozone, I'm no longer a Republican, but since we have embraced this entitlement generation, I don't think we're Republican anymore. I mean, do you?
Look, Republican is just a word. I mean, I know what I believe in.
No. Republican is not a word, Ozone. It used to be a principle. It used to mean less taxes, less government, less bureaucracy. I mean, it used to have, I mean, Republican. I'm not talking about conservative, because conservative is completely different, and I'm a true conservative. But, I mean, Republican used to mean a completely different thing. And what's unfortunate about McCain, Ozone, and this is the reason why I won't vote for him or any of them communists on the left, is because of the fact that I don't want communism or a quasi-socialism government exploiting our United States of America just because our American people are a bunch of dumb idiots. And I hate to be making blanketed statements about the American people like that, but I mean, like I've suggested previous, the American people could care less about the serious political subject matters that are going to affect their life. They're more worried about whether or not Britney Spears shaved her melon or whether or not Paris Hilton has a chihuahua or a damn monkey on her crotch. I mean, that's basically what sums up America. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. Like you've said many times, the government education system dumbing down people, and when you're dumbed down and you don't know economics or even basic math, you know, then these communists can come in and start throwing things in programs that you'll never figure out how bad they are, and you'll just want the free health care, and they want the people dumbed down, then they got it, And, government, the public education system is the only way that this can happen. If we had a private system, then the people would be free to learn what the parents want them to learn. But now they have stuff forced down their throat.
So, where do we go from here? Ozone, I know you've been telling me to vote for John McCain based on Republican principle, but, and this has been my argument, Ozone, is that if we vote John McCain as Republicans into the United States, or actually into the presidency, we are going to redefine Republicanism. Do you not think so? Remember, 4 years separates a president when they're first sworn in to the day that they leave office.
Yeah, no, look, I agree with all the underlying reasons why you're saying that you're not going to vote for McCain. I agree with you on every one. However, in order to get people back to more conservative values, it's about education. It's not like someone's born this way or that way. It's about what they believe in their head. We have to get the message out. But right now, while we're doing that, and while I agree with all your underlying reasons, we don't use the presidency, the vote, and put the country in possibly a wrong path for 4 years in order to get back the Republican Party. We have to do it in other ways, but that risk is too great. Just like I've said before, 1992, Clinton won with 43% because a lot of conservatives said they're not going to vote for Bush Sr. And then...
But, Ozone, you don't think that Clinton in 92 being elected reorganized the Republican Party? We took over the Congress and the Senate. We had a defined Republican Party. As a matter of fact, I believe that is the truest Republican Party, the Republican fervor that came out of the whole 92 election. You remember the old school Republicans, Bob Barr, Newt Gingrich? We can go on and on. These individuals were true conservative Republicans, constitutionalist Republicans. And at this point, we have something that's completely different, completely off whack at this point. And, me as a conservative Republican or an old school Republican, I just can't sit here and palate that. I can't sit here and embrace that. I can't put my name on the record for voting for the destruction of America. I love the American Constitution. I love the American way of life. And I just don't want, some ridiculous garbage as a presidential election ruining that for us, don't you think?
Well, look, in 1992, 57% of the vote went to conservative candidates, but Clinton got 43%. But then what happened in 96? Then Bob Dole was our candidate, and Clinton got 49%. He got more percent of the population. Then what happened in 2000? McCain was supposed to be the nominee. Bush supposedly stole it from him, and half the Republican Party was upset. We've been moving left because of what's going on in people's minds. We can't help it. Most of the country is going liberal, and we have to fight that. But when it comes to you as an American voting, you have a vote. There's two candidates that are potentially going to win, and you have to vote for the one you think will be the best for America. A democracy is not having the candidate that's perfect for you. You're never going to have a candidate that's perfect for you, but you still have to vote, and, that's the way I look at it.
Well, no, I understand, Ozone, when you say that you're not going to have a candidate that's completely you, if you will. Believe me, I understand that, but I don't like to call it the lesser of two evils because the lesser of two evils can be justified based on litmus tests. I justify my voting record on those that have more of my particular values and political viewpoints. And to be completely honest with you, I just don't think that John McCain, Hillary Clinton, Barack Hussein Obama are that much different. The only thing that separates Barack Hussein Obama and Hillary Rodham Clinton from McCain is the war. Well, and that's it.
I hear you. Now, look, McCain will not cut taxes. McCain will put more conservative judges. But Bush is just as liberal. But look at all the programs the government has. Bush was in office by not taking them away, by not fighting to take them out. But when the Republicans had Congress, by not fighting to take them all out, they're implicitly the same. And that's who people who we've all been voting for. Look at you see that there's a commercial even with a clown guy on TV with a book with 10,000 government programs that you can get grants from. you know, and he sells this book, get a grant for pregnancy, for business, new home, you know, improvement. This is already happening, and Republicans. That
I remember that Andrew Lolcow or whatever that idiot's name is with the question marks all over his freaking suit. Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Well, the reason that that came out in the 90s, Ozone. I never saw that idiot before Bill Clinton took office. Now, will I agree with you that George Bush had a hard time dismantling a lot of Clinton's garbage? Sure. But at the same time, a lot of the money that's coming out of the deficit, and we need to recoup that money, by the way, but most of the money that's becoming the American deficit comes from the war on terror. Am I wrong?
Actually, it's not from the war on terror. We're not spending that much more than Clinton spent. We're spending just as much more on social programs.
No, I understand that we're, still with the social programs of Bill Clinton. Because, look, I've been keenly aware of what George Bush has enacted or got rid of. And to be completely honest with you, I just believe that what we're seeing here is just, something that's just a little different than what you're suggesting, unless I'm wrong.
I think that if Hillary or Obama get elected, we're going to be number 2 superpower in the world. That's what's going to happen. We're going to have millions of people, foreigners here illegally, that are going to have now rights, that they're going to be able to fight for.
Same with McCain, though, Ozone.
Right. Well, with I'm not happy about McCain, but we have to, we have to do whatever we can to get the country back to understanding conservative values. But when it comes to the vote on Election Day, I'm going to do the best I can to get the most conservative person in there to do damage control, basically. That's what it is right now.
Well, it's just really a shame, Ozone, that, we're living in a democracy that we're trying to spread around the international community. You take a look at Iraq, Afghanistan, we're trying to sow the seeds of democracy, and if we have somebody like John McCain who, based on his record, based on, his actions as a senator, he's utilized his power to extend his authority into areas that are unprecedented. You can just imagine when this man is president, he is going to continue to put more bureaucracy in our faces, government institutions and bureaucracies that are just a deterrent for a free American society. But at the same time, this man wants to continue on and fight the war on terror on Pakistan, Iran, Syria, and he's doing this on the premise of sowing the seeds of democracy. Now, how are you going to sow the seeds of democracy when you're taking away democracy in your homeland, has been my question.
We're not going to have any different democracy than we have had for the past 20 years when McCain is elected. He's going to put he has a few more rules about campaigning and maybe about things that have to do with the radio airwaves because they're government owned or whatever, but stupid little things like that. But in general, he's not going to raise taxes. That's the number one issue.
Well, he is going to raise taxes on gas, though, Ozone, and then that's a big part of our society there. Gas is what creates economy, trucks going by to deliver goods, people going to work, and that sort of thing. If you're going to raise taxes on that, don't you think that would deplete our economy more than it already has based on our devalued dollar, lack of jobs, and influx of 20 million illegal immigrants that are creating a black market of employment?
Well, actually, with a tax, because of the economics of the gas industry, no, I'm not for taxes, but I don't think a tax on gas would have that much of an impact at all on anyone in the United States. What will have an impact is when Hillary Clinton's president and she starts taxing the oil companies by so much amount that they're going to stop wanting to do business.
They've already taxed the gas companies, Ozone. Hold on, let me get the story, and let me tell you about it. Hold on just one second. I just saw it here. Anyway, they've already, they're already going to tax the gas companies. Well, actually, the Congress has passed it. It hasn't gone through the Senate yet. but they're going to gas the they're going to tax the gas companies based on the tremendous profits that they've generated here in the past 8 years. What do you think about that?
Well, the gas companies make a 10% profit margin, which is probably lower than most companies. iPods making music players and making 10 times more profit. They're just doing they provide a huge service. They have set up gasoline stations across the country every quarter mile. So basically, they make huge profits. But with a gas tax, the reason why a gas tax will not have such a big impact on the United States is because in the gas industry, most of the profit, the gas companies only make 10%. Most of the profit is made by the huge cartels. They're going to lower their price when demand starts to drop because of a high price. Of course, there's an OPEC monopoly over there, and that's a problem too. But they are the ones with the profit. They have room to lower their price. The oil companies don't have much room. 10% is very small. I mean, compared to a regular business, it's not a huge profit. I don't know how much profit do they want them to make. 1%? I mean, they have to invest. And they use that money to invest. That's what they've been doing. That's why there's more.
Well, actually, Ozone, to be correct, that this past Wednesday they voted to repeal an $18 billion in tax breaks for big oil companies, so that they can help pay for developing renewable energies. What do you think about that?
Well, the government's taking away the tax breaks?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's wrong. I mean, no one's going to invest that money better than a business owner that's his own money. The government's going to waste it on ethanol or something like that, which is ridiculous. Ethanol. Right?
Believe me, I mean, you had the idiot from Virgin Records, whatever his fruity-ass name was. He's even backtracking on ethanol, and he's talking about reevaluating his new energy source.
Right. I heard that.
Branson, whatever his name is.
Yeah, well, ethanol right now causes more pollution than gas, and you have to farm it, you have to use land, you have to put fertilizer that goes into the rivers, tons of it, you have to replace food crops, you have to also then send it to a processor. Oil, you just pull it out of the ground. There's no pollution when you make it. It's just refining it, and when it's burnt, ethanol is a little bit less pollution, but there's still pollution there, and the expense, it's never going to be cheaper than gas. People are going to have to pay more. If we go to ethanol, people are going to have to pay more to get it, to get the same amount of energy. Oil is most efficient. I think we need to have efficiency in the vehicles. And
I agree with you, Ozone, and we only have 2 minutes left. Do you want to plug your show here?
Yeah, thanks. The Ozone, political intervention. If anyone wants to, I'm looking for liberals to debate, and I'm going to schedule my shows based on liberals who want to debate me. So just go to my profile at the Ozone, Democrats Are Lost. It's actually blogtalkradio.com/Democrats Are Lost is the link. Thanks.
All right. All right, Ozone. I really appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, Ozone. Yeah, you come back anytime, man. Anyway, folks, we need to start getting back to America. And what's America? I'm talking about the American economy. I'm talking about American jobs. I'm talking about America that is embracing the fact that we've got 20 million illegal immigrants out here, devaluing the cost of labor. We need to talk about that crap. We need to talk about how high-end retail stores here in America are no longer accepting Benjamin Franklin's or American money. They're only accepting euros, folks. I mean, we need to talk about all this garbage, folks. We need to talk about how America is transitioning from what we know of as America into a quasi-socialist communist government. And this is what I'm talking about, folks. And anyway, I want you all to talk about this. If you can, there's a share option in the archive, and you can get back to my archive at blogtalkradio.com/ghost, Ghost. There's a little share option. Email some of my shows to people that you know and ask them, hey, what do you think about this? Do you think it's right? Do you think it's wrong? And talk about it. That's the only thing that's going to change our democracy, folks. Anyway, I thank everybody for tuning in with me this evening. I really appreciate your patronage. Like I said, email me. Let me know a good time to put on a True Conservative Radio, and I'd really appreciate it. Get back, blogtalkradio.com/ghost. That's going to be the home of my new blog. Check it out. Long live the conservative movement and death to feminism. Thank you very much.
A Napa guy knows the only way you'd give a freshly minted driver a brand new car is if he promises to never drive it. Instead, let him grind the gears and knock over the neighbor's mailbox in something a little more suited to his skill level. And with over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, he can safely drive something that's nearly as old as he is. It's not perfect, but it's perfect for him. That's Napa know-how.